All right, welcome back, guys. We were just gonna get into who we thought were the best playoff performance guys that you would have to lead your team in the playoffs. I brought up Jimmy Butler, so we have to go through this.
Oh,
a
you know
little
what?
bit
You know
quicker.
who I'm bringing up, that's for sure.
Who we bringing up?
Huh?
Who we bringing up?
Well, the playoff performers?
In the East,
Oh,
before
in
we
the
get to the
East.
West.
Okay,
in the
okay,
East.
okay. Save yourself for that one.
In the East.
In the West, there's no doubts.
There's
There's
not.
no doubts.
So we went through the teams. We brought up the Raptors, who don't have that guy. And we don't want to name names, but the Raptors don't have that guy since Kawhi left. And that was when I started getting into the Raptors guys in their roles, whether it be Fred, OG, Pascal. Unfortunately, we have to bring to this table. If you had a guy
Still have
like
faith in
not
Pascal.
even Kawhi, but even if you had Jimmy Butler on the Raptors, they might be a favorite.
Okay, but so and I wanted to bring up that point because when you mentioned it, and I said the same thing. You know what, that the Raptors obviously wouldn't have done what they did without Kawhi there, because Kawhi at times was absolutely phenomenal. But, and then there's a big but. You look at what happened in the Clippers, and I kind of rethink that maybe I wasn't giving a lot of these other guys enough credit, because if you look at it, I mean, at another star player, we can say that Paul George technically would have been better than anyone that the Raptors had. I think we can probably make that case. You have other guys like Lou and Beverly and Montrez, and man, it absolutely collapsed.
Yeah, okay. I don't want to spend.
Right.
Yeah, but this gets back to what we started the show with when I said, did the Lakers get better because they have more star power? And I think that that's an emphatic no.
Okay.
And you and a lot of people would disagree. We can go through the guys. Harold needs the ball.
Okay.
Lou Williams needs the ball. Lou Williams, he's a great scorer. I don't think you can tell Lou Williams sit in the corner and shoot threes the same way you can tell Danny Green to, or tell Fred VanVleet to.
Okay.
And I think that's why the Raptors were so good and a great fit for Kawhi. Is the talent better when you compare last year's Clippers to the Raptors 2 years ago? You could argue that the Clippers had a better roster, right? And most people probably would. But the Raptors had OG, who's a great defender.
But he wasn't really there for a lot of that year.
He wasn't there for the playoff run.
Yeah.
No, but he was there for the season.
Fair.
Fred, who just got paid, we know what Fred is. And I talked about that with Fred. Is Fred a guy that if you're going into a playoff series, you could argue that Fred's the Raptors' best player at this point in everybody's career.
Well, sorry, Fred's better than
Raptors right now. Like
right
in terms
now?
of, so
That
it's Kyle, Pascal, and Fred.
Okay, yeah.
And to be honest, Fred shooting percentage wise and all that kind of stuff.
You'd have Fred as the best one, huh? Wow.
I'm just saying. I think you can make the argument.
Interesting.
Could you not make the argument?
I can't really. I don't want to.
It's a debate, is what I'm saying.
Kyle's had a good career. They say he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't know about all that, but Kyle's probably. And until Fred makes the All-Star team, I don't know if we can say that he's been better than Pascal, because Pascal made
Tatum didn't make an All-Star team until this year, but you would have said that Tatum's a better player than someone else.
Fair enough.
Okay, so because we don't have too much time. What I wanted to say about the Clippers and the Raptors were a better fit because they have guys that know their roles and everything. Whereas with the Clippers, whole thing was they went, like you said, against the Warriors. Everybody had this thing. They all had their roles being from usage rates super high to usage rates dropping with Paul George and Kawhi.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you're having to adjust your game. Whereas with the Raptors, OG, Pascal, Fred, Kyle, Siakam, Serge. All those guys were second, third, fourth, fifth options. Nobody there is being like, I need the ball.
You swapped out DeRozan for Kawhi.
Yeah, where I'm saying with the Clippers, everybody's like, I need the ball to do stuff.
Which makes sense.
Danny Green also, who we talked about. That's where I think the difference is. And I want to kind of just...
That's fair.
And a lot of people don't think that. Same thing with the Lakers. Like,
the
Lakers got a lot better. Yeah, Schroeder needs the ball in his hands all the time. LeBron controls the game. Rondo was able to alleviate some of that pressure from LeBron of having to dribble the ball. Now you're bringing in all these guys.
Yeah, but you're bringing, like, for example, let's say a guy like Schroeder. Like, I can see that Schroeder's might not start for the Lakers. He can probably have the same role. Same role. And then that's just a guy that can score, that'll when LeBron's on the bench, that can just create. He'll be what Rondo pretty much was this year, where he'll have to be another primary ball handler. That'll when LeBron's taking his 15 minutes of rest a game, that he'll be out there.
You feel safe with him, the ball in his hands.
That's basically what's going to be. And again, you can argue that if he doesn't get as injured as Rondo, and it might be he won't be the creator that Rondo was, but he's probably a better shooter. But Rondo was hitting some shots.
He did in the playoffs.
Very, very impressive.
Don't have much time. I want to get back to what we were saying about the Raptors. Sorry, Jimmy Butler. Just to finish off that.
Yeah.
How many guys would you pick over Jimmy Butler when you're going into a series? Same way the Raptors went against Boston, they ended up losing in 7. Whereas Tatum, undoubtedly like superstar kind of whatever, borderline superstar. The guy's going to get us 30 points, whereas the Raptors, we saw guys kind of falter. So we talked about Giannis just going through the teams. There was Giannis, there were other guys. Who would you take?
So, and I'm gonna preface this because again, we obviously we like to live in the moment, but I mean Jimmy absolutely had an incredible run in the bubble.
But even against the Raptors in that series 2 years ago against Kawhi, he was their best player. When Embiid and Simmons did nothing.
I mean, fair enough. Then
and they have done nothing in the playoffs.
Again, and based off of talent, and if you look at it like the way it was, that Sixers team was probably more talented than the Raptors.
They were.
But
once again, cohesiveness was not there.
Cohesiveness was not there because Jimmy wasn't the number one option, so he wasn't given the opportunity. And in this way, this team just fit better with Jimmy. Maybe the same way that Kawhi fit better with the Raptors than it did with the.
I think that's an easy
Clippers.
call there. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's the situation there. Now, again, is Jimmy Buckets going to be a perennial playoff warrior going forward, or was it?
There's a track record of that. Is what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, I guess, like I said, I mean, Jimmy's definitely gone there. Do I think guys will overstep him in a couple of years? Probably. But right now, I would agree with that.
But getting back to that, in the East, we went through all the teams. The only guys that we would say we would take over him, like, for sure, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And even Durant, yeah, but he also just tore his Achilles. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Tatum is a guy that's pretty much on a similar level, maybe a better shot maker, but, Jimmy's a better defender and he's hit bigger shots. Nobody else in this conference. Nobody on Philly.
Yeah. Well, again,
Giannis has his playoff falters because he still can't shoot the three.
Yeah, and I mean, overall, I would still take Giannis over Jimmy based on the fact that I think he's a better player. But in the playoffs, based off
they beat them, they embarrassed them in the series. They swept them off the floor. Well, the 4-1 or whatever.
Again, I think it's been shown that Giannis can be guarded in a particular type of way that takes away his game. So again, until he succeeds in the playoffs, maybe he'll join. There's talks he wants to go to Miami. He won't. I don't think.
Interesting. Let's go to Atlanta and talk about Bogdanovich for 5 minutes. So Atlanta got a lot better. They have a lot of bodies. They pick up Gallinari, which was kind of a head scratcher. Rajon Rondo.
Expensive.
Rajon Rondo, Bogdanovich got paid, and Chris Dunn to go along with Trey. That's a lot of guards, and they didn't really lose anybody either.
I mean, Collins is a solid player, and so I thought I had picked Atlanta to be a lot better than they were last year.
And Capella, who they're going to have, right?
And Capella. They still stunk pretty badly last year.
They're terrible.
Worst
defending.
Collins ended up having that suspension.
For the PEDs.
So that was that cost them a lot. I thought that they were going to be a
playoff
bubble team. They were absolutely awful. I like the signings. The Bogdanovich thing going on down in the summer, that was one of the weirdest things I think I've ever seen in NBA history.
Being traded before free agency,
being traded in a sign and trade, being a restricted free agent. There was no time for people to actually be speaking to free agents. So I don't know how the Bucks thought they were going to pull a fast one there. And that still might end up being a problem because they might face some tampering charges, which could cost them draft picks or whatever it might be. I think a rival executive actually was one of the guys that really did bring it up. That what the hell is this? Because it didn't make any sense. I'm like, free agency starts on Friday. These guys are pulling moves on Tuesday. There's been no signing period. What the hell's going on? Because usually they have that. I don't think they had this year where you.
Because they didn't know what free agency was going to be.
So how the heck are you signing guys to sign in trades when you can't be speaking to them? And then Bogdanovich absolutely pulls the heel move. Turns the heel move. Tells them to go screw themselves. Yeah. I'm not going anywhere.
And he signed in Atlanta.
And the crazy thing is, and again, I don't know how much the money was going to be in Milwaukee because I don't know if they would.
It was the same deal, pretty much, right?
But how do you turn down going to the first place team on the same money, back-to-back years, with the MVP to go to a team that was near the basement? Like either he had no thoughts of living in Milwaukee or hated the idea of living in Milwaukee and preferred Atlanta. But that was one of the all-time heel moves, and shout out to him because the Bucks played a dangerous game and got significantly burned. But it was definitely a stone. It was
a zero F's given.
It was like I've never seen that kind of situation.
4 years, $72 million.
And a lot of people were saying, with that lineup, they were to he can shoot.
Yeah, good ball handler.
Good ball handler, and you couple him with Drew Holiday, it would have literally made Middleton still would have been a third option, probably
making $250 million.
Yeah, but it would have given him a heck of a starting lineup. Probably the best starting lineup in the conference, in my opinion. 1 through 5. Yeah, arguably you could have. that still leaves them in a bit of a hole. But shout out to him for doing the screw job. I don't know what the hell was going on, but he said he wasn't going to go. His agent was all over the map. That just was a mess. And I do hope that the Bucks get nailed for tampering because that looked like a whole heck of a lot of BS in my opinion. I do hope that whatever if it's a first round draft pick or some money. That was a disaster zone. I know 2020 is weird, but man, that's not that kind of weird.
That was crazy. You think Atlanta makes the playoffs this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because at the end of the day, Orlando didn't get they lost. Orlando got worse. They ended up losing Augustine. I guess was.
I don't know if that's getting worse.
But again, they didn't get any better. They were a bubble.
Isaac's probably going to miss more time again. Yeah, he got injured again.
There's that eighth is right there for the picking. I think obviously the Nets will be better. I think the Nets finished 7th. They'll be much better.
Bulls have a chance, maybe, right? But out of these playoff teams, hold on. Go through these playoff teams really quick. Milwaukee, Toronto, Boston, Miami, Philly, Brooklyn, lock, right? The only team really is Indiana and the Magic.
I still think Indiana makes it. I think they them bottom.
They should. They always do, right?
Unless that Oladipo thing turns into some kind of catastrophe.
But he's in a contract year too, so he's gonna go hard.
I think they have enough talent. I mean, they still got T.J. Warren was playing out of his mind in the bubble.
He was in the bubble. Oh my God.
He was again. They have a lot of talent there. They're not going to go. I thought them firing Nate McMillan was an absolute
really shady, right?
Considering that what he was able to do with his star player off for the majority of the year, that's absolutely unbelievable. That made absolutely no sense whatsoever. But going back to it, yeah,
Sabonis too.
The eighth seed, yeah, Sabonis was lost. There's no way they were going to be able to do much with Sabonis out. And Oladipo wasn't healthy. Eighth. I don't think Orlando makes the playoffs. There's no.
That's
real
the only
science.
spot then, probably, right?
Yeah,
unless
and there's other teams in the East that might be a bit of a
Chicago maybe makes a chance. That's really it. Charlotte's going nowhere. New York's going nowhere. Washington.
No belief in Thibodeau up in New York.
In the first year, I don't know. In the
first year that David that. Well, you never know. Maybe Obi Toppin turns into Vince Carter all of a sudden. Who the heck knows? I don't know. I doubt it, but
I think that's the only not in year one anyways.
Overall, I think that's pretty much it'll be a battle between I think Brooklyn probably has the advantage at this point. They depending on how good that situation goes. Can LeVert, can he play with those guys?
Six man, he gets
six man, whatever it ends up being. I think they have probably the most talent. When everyone's done, with those two, I mean,
if they're healthy, but like I said, Durant's coming off an Achilles injury. Let's see what he's like.
He's probably the number. Giannis was the MVP, but if Durant's in the conference or even been playing, you'd probably argue that Durant will probably be right there, depending on what he was doing. So
yeah, just like I said, Durant is Durant, maybe a top 10 all-time player. You know what I mean? Maybe, but I just think, like I said, the Achilles injury. I'm really interested to see. We know he's not going to be the same guy. He's probably 31, 32 at this point, and towards Achilles.
Well, and
the shooting's going to be.
So I think a lot of people.
About 1 minute.
I think a lot of people had this thing where Durant was probably on a consistent thing would end up